Right, all right. Good morning, afternoon, evening, depending on the time of day you're taking this in. Doesn't really matter because it's evergreen material. It's what we do. It's what we do around here, folks. Hold on, let me just make sure everything is shared out appropriately. yeah. yeah. We some head busters. We some head busters. We are not a hater. That was the song that really got my mind right. that was the song I got my mind right. You know, when you produce the kind of quality content at the frequency in which I produce quality content, oh, when you produce it like the way I do, you got to get yourself in a certain mode. Got to have the coffee right, the run your mornings. You cannot have a bad morning. You have to win your morning. This was a saying. Well, you have a saying around here. We do. We have a saying. Let me remove this so you guys see me. We have a saying around here. It's called win your morning. Win your morning. Win your morning. Every single day, if you can win your morning, you're that much more likely to have a great day. Just win it. Wake up, get productive, do some, go run, go do whatever needs to get done throughout the day. Again, you rest your head on the pillow, knowing that certain things need to get done the next day. If you can win it in the morning and get it done in the morning, however quickly you can get it done, you have that much more of a better chance to have a great day, to have a day in which you're going to be proud of. Win the morning, folks. Win the morning. That's why I call you regular consumers of my work. I call you guys wintrepreneurs. Part of being a wintrepreneur is winning the damn morning, winning it. It's big. All right. We're not guaranteed it, right? We're not guaranteed it. So we got to win the morning. Win it. And that's up to you. That's up to your mental. That's up to how you progress. That's up to really what your mentality is and what you're about, what exactly your integrity is, and what's burning on the inside, right? What's all up in here. You got to win the damn morning. All right. So, all that being said, let me just introduce myself to anybody that is new to this channel, new to this world, new to this platform, new to me. My name is Aswan Crookshank. I am your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current five-time, very soon to be six-time published author and educator. And I created this whole business, this whole brand, this whole mindset, this whole way of life. That's all about taking the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and aligning them with businesses and business owners so they have a staff and a group of employees that moves just like a championship high school or youth football team. That's what we do. That is the translation. That is the code we have cracked, the system we have cracked, the cog, the wheel, the turn, the thing that continues and continues to turn around here is that mentality. Strong, solid football team. And this is great because we got football season going on. So I'm on 10, I'm on 100, right? You got that group. You got that group of young, hungry men that are working together, building something special. We want to translate that mentality into the business world, into the corporate world, so you have that cohesion within your staff. You need it. Trust me, you need it as we continue to drift further and further apart, as AI is taking over, the internet is already taken over, and there's so much communication now done virtually. It is so challenging, so damn challenging to figure out how we can incorporate a solid system that's going to make it so people who have to work, the people who honestly don't like each other, but if you can figure out ways to make it so they respect each other, you can build a really strong business that, it doesn't really matter if you like the person or not. You're going to work with them because, hey, they're the best person for the job, and we're going to go out and we're going to win this championship together. That's what we can do around here. So today it's Thursday, and as we do every single Thursday, we are going to be recapping all of the lessons, all of the gems, all of the stuff that we discussed from Monday through Wednesday. And all week, we've been breaking down what being a role model entails. Everything from the actual person to the actual person that is looking up to another person, how you need to operate, how you need to understand, hey, being a role model isn't all about fame. However, part of it does have to do with some elements of fame and being willing to be famous and having the courage to put yourself out there very authentically and boldly and come up with aggressive ideas and things like that, so your platform grows and certain people can see it. All of it is all about intention and being able to, hey, stand on your own two and have the courage, right? The word courage, all right, it takes courage to start stepping up, getting out of your comfort zone, and really believing in your work and doing the work that somebody else is going to benefit from. I heard Tyler Perry say this one time. It was like years ago, one of his the Black Achievement Awards at BET. I don't really watch BET like that no more. But it was a speech that went viral. Actually, it was my mom who sent it to me. And Tyler Perry was talking about how there's people's lives who are connected to your dreams. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. Keep dreaming, keep believing, keep developing. If you're in a situation where you find yourself not growing, you got to get out of the situation and put yourself in an element of growth where you're getting uncomfortable, because they're people's lives. Other people's lives are connected to your dreams. Other people's lives are connected to your dreams. So keep on dreaming, keep believing in the things that you want. Do not stop reaching. So all that being said, again, we're going to run through all the stuff that we discussed all week. Before we get there, got to get through some announcements. You know, I would not be doing my duties, my duties, if I don't get through these announcements. Again, if you're a regular consumer and you've heard these announcements, just bear with me. I'm working on. I am. Believe me when I tell you. You guys know me. Constantly working, constantly looking to refurbish my delivery, refurbish my reignite my way of getting stuff out there in a more efficient way. So I am working on how I can make these announcements a little quicker so you guys can get through it. Just bear with me. I wouldn't be able to do it if I don't do it live, right? You got to, like I said, I got to practice what I preach. All right. Just like you got to practice what you preach. All right. All right. Here we go. Let's go. First things first, business owners. If you have not yet, go to freeguide.makeyourmove.com. That is free. FREE guide.makeyourmove.com. We work from a very, very simple formula around here. It's called establishing measurables, adding that professional distance, and that leading to a productive environment. Simply click the screen that you see right here, put your name, phone number, email, and you'll get an email directly from me right to your inbox that has 10 steps in which you can be utilizing right now to start to get the ball rolling in your business. That is completely free, and there's absolutely no excuse for you not to be doing that right now. Next thing, West Palm Beach, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker is back in the boxing business, baby. Yes, I am. That really was where I was really able to find my voice, was through teaching other people how to box, because I didn't know how to do it myself. And I learned that had I developed that skill, a lot of things would have been solved for me, confidence-wise, athletically, personally, so many different things. So I've opened it back up. If you are free from 6 p.m. to around 8:15 or any one of those times, and you're interested in doing a free session and you're in the West Palm Beach area, make sure you get in contact with me and we'll get something on the calendar and scheduled with you, whether it's with me or whether we're doing it at Palm Beach Boxing. We're going to figure something out. Just let me know that you're interested by hitting the sign up now button, and we'll figure all that out as we go. Next thing, sport and fitness. Again, you are now tuned in. You are now listening to the official sport and fitness director at the Foundation School, the Center for Creative Education. We are really, really just going to be focusing on 4 pillars here. All right. It's fitness, it's fun, family, and fundraising. Those are the 4 pillars in which we're going to build this entire platform, this entire curriculum on. We're going to build it from those 4 places. I call it the 4Fs: fitness, fun, family, and fundraising. That's where we're all about. That's where we're at. If those are words that sound beautiful to you, those are words that speak to your soul, If those are the words that speak to your soul, simply join the email list and we'll get things as we get things going. We're in our first week of school here, so we'll get things as we get things going, and I get an opportunity to interact with students a little bit, see what they like, see what they're ready for. Again, you're speaking to someone that's a college athlete, all right? Played college, coached high school ball, had runs every single morning with like elite runners. So, and many times I have to learn to tone myself down as I'm going through workouts, because I got to remember that they're K through 5, and I got to be, corralling myself mentally to say, hey, certain ones, they can't take that kind, which is fine. I'm not, again, this is fine. The big thing is getting stuff tracked. And I was talking about that this morning. Big thing, if we're talking about fitness, wherever you are, and this is regardless of your age, is getting something tracked, getting something on the books, getting like a number recorded, and then going from that number and just steadily showing improvement at whatever pace you need to show improvement. Do not make the mistake of comparing yourself to others. That is a recipe for disaster. That's something I've lived through my damn self. And that's on Move Swiftly, sports and fitness.makeyourmove.com. Next thing, College football is back, folks. College football is back, and your one and only has found a location, to host a live college football show. In fact, we will be there this weekend for the Dolphins opening the preseason game for the Dolphins. I'll be there just kind of putting some information out there, letting people know. If you are interested in being a part of that, go to weeklyscenario.makeyourmove.com. That is weeklyscenario.makeyourmove.com. Every week we're going to be putting out a scenario out there, something that is going to be tying a knot between college football and business owners. Like the first one that's already out there now is if you are a college coach or a coach in general, it doesn't have to be college, but if you're a coach in general and your job is on the line, yet your star player misses class, do you play them? Do you sit them, or do you sit them for a quarter? How do you handle that situation? We're going to have questions like that also are equivalent and equate to the things that go on in the business world, where they're integrity questions and they're meant to strengthen you. They're meant to strengthen you as a business owner, strengthen your mindset, because we know this kind of stuff is going to happen, right? We know unfortunate stuff comes up, and hey, we got to have the mental fortitude to deal with it on the spot. We don't get the luxury. Of asking somebody else. As a business owner, you don't get the luxury of asking somebody else what they would do. No. You got to make the decision. And if you're not prepping yourself now to make these difficult decisions in challenging situations, then you're going to have a problem. All right. So that's what we do. We're always prepping you. weeklyscenario.makeyourmove.com. And finally, if you are like the favorite people to work with around here, the people that say bump all that free stuff you do, and I like it, but I want to know who I got to pay and where I got to pay and how I can pay you to get this mentality that I have. I want you implementing this mentality into my employees. I got you. Don't worry about it. MakeYourMove.com. Straight up. Just go right there. Hit the shop button. You'll see where you can purchase employee development workshops. See where you can purchase the books, the boxing lessons. All that is right there on MakeYourMove.com. Turn your business into a championship team. It is common knowledge that the best way to win in business or in life is by avoiding ways to lose. Whether you've just started a new business or you've been in business for quite some time, there's no getting around the need to hire or outsource certain elements of your organization so things can run as efficiently as possible. When you book your meeting with Aswan, he'll diagnose what the issues are with your current system and then strategically create a system in which will lead to a reduced amount of turnover or a clear understanding of the parts of your business that need to be outsourced. Whew, man, I'm telling you, I am getting better. I am getting better with those announcements. Yeah, if I have to say so myself, getting better with those announcements. So, all that being said, let's jump into the content today. Let's jump into the recap episode today. Let me just put this up real quick for my visual folks. All right, Thursday recap. What being a role model entails. Now, this started years ago. It started years ago, and I put this in the article. It was Coach Prime, who this was back when he was at Jackson State, and there was this podcast that I guess is no longer available, or it's just been strict. I looked it up, but it seems that I am actually, while I'm talking, let me look it up right now so you guys can see. But I am athlete podcast, I think, is just gone. Like is it available? Some episodes, I don't know. Oh, okay. So some of them are there, but I looked for the one where Deion Sanders, and this was a great show. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it when it was it. Like, it really was a great show. I think in many ways it created it created a completely new dynamic to being a former athlete, because one of the things that you struggle with when you do play sports and when you are really into sports is you struggle with the fact that it's going to end. You know it is going to end. It doesn't matter how great you are. It really does not. It really doesn't matter how great of a player you are. You could be a player that is, Division III talent, or you could be damn LeBron James. It will end. It will end. And that mentality, when you're committing so much and then putting so much of your identity into being an athlete, that part of it is a difficult challenge. It's like it's like standing on train tracks, or it's like a train that you know is going to come to an end. A really, really fun train ride that you know is going to, or like being on a roller coaster. Same thing. You go to an amusement park, and if you're on a roller coaster, you're having fun, you're screaming, you're yelling, but you know in the back of your mind, oh my God, this roller coaster is going to end. That's what being an athlete is like. So when the I Am Athlete podcast was really thumping, really something that was new, you heard from these former athletes who made it all the way. They made it to the NFL. They did all the NBA, whatever it is. They've reached the pinnacle. They've reached this high level, these incredibly high levels of success. And you heard them talk as if they're just people about, you know, the things they struggle with and the difficulties and all of that stuff. It was a really, 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 really good show. And I'm bringing this all up for a reason, because I remember when Coach Prime was on the I Am Athlete podcast, and I think he had just taken the job at Jackson State. So for years, he was high school coach, because, you know, he coached his sons and all that. He started from youth level all the way to now he's in Colorado. But back when he was the Jackson State coach, he did the I Am Athlete podcast, and he was kind of challenged. He was basically, again, they keep it all the way funky. They're former athletes, so you're not talking to people that didn't play the game. And they were telling him, hey, look, we love HBCUs and we're all for our people, quote unquote. But we kind of know, look, ain't nobody trying to go. There's no one really going to an HBC. Like if you if you that dude, like that recruit that everybody wants, and you see what Alabama, you see an Alabama locker room, or you see a Gator, a Florida locker room, or Florida State, or whatever, one of these major blue power conference schools, you see one of these locker rooms, and then you go to a Jackson State locker room, you're like, love our people. We love our people. We love our, HBCU proud, but I can't see, you really getting some dogs like that, right? And it was a great dialogue because it turned out to be right. It was interesting to think about it now, because from there, this was back when I think it was Channing Crowder was on the I Am Athlete, but him and Fred Taylor, they were on the I Am Athlete podcast. And then, some drama went down and they went to the pivot. So when Coach Prime, he left Jackson State to go to Colorado, and then he goes on the Pivot podcast, and they were, it's the same two people, but it was basically, they were talking about what happened before when it's a Jackson State. Look, I told you, being at that HBCU is great, and you fought people, but eventually you just got to move on. And it was during, all right, let me get back on track here. So it was during the I Am Athlete podcast when Coach Prime was on there, where he said, look, we got to be careful who we call a role model, because we got a lot of models playing roles. Ooh. The thing that made that show so great is because whoever did the clips and wherever the cameras were rolling, they had everything filmed, right? So when Coach Prime said that, you saw everybody's reaction. Like you saw Fred Taylor's reaction, you saw Brandon Marshall's reaction, and you saw Channing Crowder's reaction. All of them. It's like, we got to be careful who we call a role model, because we got a lot of models playing roles, and everybody goes, ooh. Everybody's like, because it hits you hard, right? It's a very valid point. We have a lot of models playing roles. We have a lot of people calling themselves a role model and saying they're doing this and doing that for kids, but they're just playing roles. They're just pretending. That's not really who they are. They're not being authentic. And as I was thinking about how football season's starting up, and you got a lot of kids that you see look up to these athletes, and they're asking for their autograph, and they're being treated like celebrities and all that. It was important to me to make sure, hey, let's do an episode on let's do a whole week long full of content on what exactly a role model entails. So day one, Monday, Make Your Move Monday, that right there was the question. What is a role model? What is a role model? You see where I wrote about it here. And we have it defined. Role is let me make sure it's a little bigger so you guys can see it. So we have it clearly defined. All right. Role, a character assigned or assumed. That's a role. Whatever role you're going to play, there's something that you have. You're going to be, this is your role, whether it's a job, whether it's what you're going to do in your family, friendship, whatever, you have a role and you need to be fulfilling that role in terms of an assignment or something that you have taken the initiative to take on, whatever the role is. Now, a model is a miniature representation of something. It represents something. There's again, my dad's an architect, so he makes these like models for buildings, and then the architects and the people, the engineers and all that, they go about building. But there's a model that needs to be in place first, and then they can build the building. So role model, character, model is a replica. And the thing is, there's nothing in that definition says positive or negative. All right. All of that is based on the person. Positive or negative role model, all of that is based on the actual person. This is where we got. So I answered the question directly. Let me make you see why it matters. Definition, watch for right. So here's the kicker: the definition applies to not doesn't apply to celebrities only. It applies to you reading this right now. It's important that you understand that the question, or the way I answer the question directly, is understanding a role model is actually you right now. Whoever's listening to me, whoever is alive, whoever is a person that's actually living and breathing, you are a role model. It's just up to you now, up to your mentality, up to how you approach your day, up to what your integrity is about and where you go. That's now up to you on if you're going to be a positive or a negative one. And the positive and the negative ones, all of that stuff is relative. It's relative. It's relative on the situation. It's relative on your mindset. It's relative on what you came from. It's relative on how you grew up, what you learned in the household, what you rejected, what you accepted, all of that stuff. It's relative based on how you approach difficult situations. It's really not going and positive situations as well, right? All of this stuff is relative. All right. So just know you are a role model. And that's what we broke down. That's what we broke down Monday. All right. Now, Tuesday, we got into a top five, right? The title of it was Top 5 Tuesday, how to pick real role models, not just a famous face. And I wanted to clarify that just because, and like I said it earlier today, just because you are famous doesn't mean you can't be a role model, right? I don't want it to seem like I'm just bashing and shitting on people who are famous and saying you can't be role models. And I started with the two famous role models that I have personally growing up, that are it's Ray Lewis and Jay-Z. That's it. You know, for me personally, this is why I put the banner, let me put it up real quick. This is why this was the thumbnail for Tuesday. Ray Lewis and Jay-Z, for me personally, you don't touch those. Like, those are going to be my guys no matter what. Like, my guys in terms of role models, famous role models. And it's because of their actions. It's because of their actions and the things and the energies and the things that I was growing up and the circumstances that I was growing up under that made me measure their actions. It was not their fame that made me like this psychotic fan of these people. It was more so about their actions and the things, the way they touched the community and the things that they did that I was able to apply to my own life. All right. As Ray Lewis, again, played in Baltimore. I grew up in Maryland, played linebacker in Maryland, showed us a positive person that, you know, went through some things legally and then was able to win a Super Bowl the next year. And then ever since then has been absolutely, at least from the public persona, I can't speak to what he's doing in his personal life like that, but at least from a public persona, giving speeches, giving inspirational talks, all that stuff is available. Just look him up. And there's so many things, so many difficult difficult years where I'll pop on a Ray Lewis speech or something like that and get my mind right and be good, right? Jay-Z, again, someone that introduced me. Had it not been for him, I don't know if I would even know what intellectual property means. I guarantee I would not know, because it never came up in the school system. So the actions that I saw from these people, I was able to apply to my own life. So that was number one, was measure the actions, not the fame. Now, number two is where my mother, my father, and my sister came in, because it was about reliability versus visibility. I explained the story about a game I had my senior year where it was in Northern Virginia. I grew up in Maryland, and we had to go play this team named Robinson in Northern Virginia, and where the game started at 7:30. So driving from Maryland all the way to Northern Virginia during that time, trying to get there for that time is a freaking headache because you're dealing with traffic. And then we had a lightning delay and all that kind of stuff. So the game in itself was all over the place. But my mother, my father, my sister, they still made the game. We won in a dramatic fashion, like last second play type win. And they saw me after the game and they were like waving, like I'm thinking waving, like they're gonna see me after, but they were like waving goodbye, like, hey, see you, we're here, we going home now, we beating the traffic. So, I saw my sister that night, and she goes, "No, we were like waving, as in like waving goodbye, like good, congrats on the win, but we got to get out of here. We ain't trying to stay in Northern Virginia." And it's funny, but at the end of the day, they wanted to make sure they saw me play. They wanted to make sure that I saw them support. That right there is what a role model entails when you're building a family. That when you're developing your family and talking about family things, those are the things that you got to be paying attention to. Number 3, are the people that you're creating, are the role models, are they teaching you something new? This is where I refer to my coaches, like Coach Bryant, Coach Gant, folks that were really, really bleeding into me, or really, really diving into the work that they did when it comes to how they develop kids, because they knew one day one of the players is just like me, is going to get and pick up on the things that they teach, and is going to be able to teach somebody else some of these same principles. So they know, hey, the work we're doing is not going to be just null and void. It's not going to be just something that goes in one ear and out the other if we continuously repeat it. So that's where I develop a lot of my ideologies from, and a lot of my ideas, a lot of my lesson plans comes from the fact that, hey, I had these 2 men, not just these 2, there were tons of other coaches. I just, brought up Coach Bryan and Coach Gint because they kind of rank at 1 and 2 when it comes to the people that coach me in my life, but there's been a ton of them. They were able to teach me things that I can now go back and teach another generation. So the number 3 was, do they teach you something new? Number 4, big one, do they help you win? Focus on winning. Now, in fact, next week, I'm going to be, because I already wrote the article for it. Next week, be breaking down the fact that from 6th to 12th grade, I didn't like the only losses I've ever experienced are from teams that I've actually beaten. Like me, that I broke it down. I wrote it out, and it was so gratifying to write out, because from 6th to 12th grade, I was a captain on multiple of those things. That's like the highlight of my football playing career. That every team I've ever lost to, at some point I actually beat them. So, technically, if you want to get technical, I have 0 losses from 6 to 12, because every team that I lost to, there was also a time where we beat them and stuff like that. So I'm used to a winning culture. I'm used to folks that are like, hey, hey, all that self-development and, learning this and learning that, it's great, but we're going to win. You gotta win the game. Gotta win the damn game. Like, one of the many reasons I'm a huge Michigan Wolverines fan is because we're the only team, only college football program in the country that's sitting at over 1,000 wins. The Michigan Wolverines. Know it. Winning. Okay, winning is what we're about. So we have to be striving to win. You can't have the loser talk. And that was number 4. Role models help you focus on winning. And then number 5, there's a healthy distance. You got to keep a healthy distance when it comes to how you develop and creating these role models. Yes, you need to know them. Yes, you need to keep, but the healthy distance comes and it creates an opportunity for you to develop your own voice, your own style, which is important. All right. So all that being said, yesterday we broke down how to, like, some real life examples in terms of how to create your own role models. And the story that I told that it's worth repeating right now was when I was in Toastmasters. I'd go to Toastmasters regularly, and there was a cat named Gerard who you can tell lived through some difficult, some challenging times, but he's out here doing some great things when it comes to his public speaking and developing something productive. So we do this thing called Table Topics, and the Table Topics is helping you practice your impromptu speaking, to where they give you a subject and you got to speak off the cuff. So the theme during that meeting was your local celebrities or your local role models. Gerard gets up there and he points to Maurice, who was the club president. And by the end of the speech, he's in tears thinking about all the things that Maurice had done for him. And he was talking about how it was difficult not having that father figure. And you had everybody, the whole meeting, everybody in the meeting, the whole crowd, just because it was majority women and stuff like that. So, I wouldn't cry. But I was like, dang, that's tough. That is tough. But you could tell it meant a lot when somebody like a Maurice comes to a jar. Again, not famous guy. You guys wouldn't know him at all. But he sees somebody putting the effort in to developing something positive, and then he goes out there and creates and builds something special. And that's really what life is all about, folks. So that's what, again, all this material is out there for you guys to go consume it at your own pace. I usually like to keep these recap episodes at 30 minutes, around the 30-minute mark, and I see I'm at my time. But again, next week, tomorrow, we're going Faith-Based Friday, where we're going over the message. I was in church by the Glades this past Sunday. Saturday, it's film session Saturday. We're starting the Texas-Ohio State game. We're getting ready for the live college football show. We're right off the back. College football is going on. It's on something this year, boy. They started early. They're starting the Ohio State versus Texas. That is crazy that they're starting the season off with that. And then it's may or may not be doing Stay Hired Sunday this Sunday. My good friend Kimberly Blues dealing with some situation. She's all good. She's all fine. But I haven't gotten confirmation from her yet. We'll figure that out as we go. But just know it will be back at some point. It's not going to be, it's not going to be a long hiatus. But it's one of those things where you got to respect the person's privacy and what they may or may not be going through. So all that being said, again, main website to check out to dive deeper into all the work I'm doing and everything that you can be getting, everything that I have to offer. It's all on MakeYaMove.com. That's MakeYaMove.com. One-stop shop for all your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. Check it out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.